are talking about your sustained investigation. That is another word for your concentration, but that is what you will be seeing on the computer this year. So we're going to talk about the sustained investigation and how that relates to your AP Art portfolio. All right, so first of all, what is the test that you take at the end of the year to see whether or not you get college credit? In case you haven't caught on yet, you don't actually have to take a pencil and paper test. So you are not doing something where you write essays or do a multiple choice test in a room. You are compiling an art portfolio. So what we work on all year is actually what is turned in for your test. There are two parts in the AP Art portfolio, and this is true for all three classes. So if you're in drawing or 3D design or 2D design, you are still going to do the same art portfolio. So the first part of your art portfolio is the sustained investigation, and that is what we are talking about today. For your sustained investigation, you have to turn in 15 images that are visually unified with a theme or topic. You will explore and investigate this topic through your artwork all year. The second part of your portfolio is the selected works. So for this part, you will send in 5 of your best pieces from the last 2 years. If you were doing a drawing or 2D design portfolio, you will physically mail in those pieces. If you were doing a 3D design portfolio, then you will actually do 10 images and you will pick your 5 best sculptures and take a picture from 2 different sides of the sculpture and upload those as your selected works. The good thing about the selected works, and the reason we don't talk about that as much, is that it can come from your sustained investigation. So if you focus on your sustained investigation, you will have enough artwork to turn in at the end of the year. You can get your works from stuff that you made last year, and you can also get your works from other pieces that you make. So those 2 assigned projects that I'm giving you at the beginning of the semester will probably become part of your selected works. This section used to be known as your quality, so sometimes I slip up and say quality instead. All right, so let's talk about the AP process. Hopefully you watched my video on scoring yesterday, and so hopefully you read the scoring rubric and you know that the words experimentation, practice, and revision are all over the AP course materials. So they really want to see that you are experimenting with media, that you are experimenting with ideas, and that you are experimenting with images. They also want to see that you are practicing. So many times as artists, we make the mistake of jumping straight into the project, but they really want to see you working out your ideas visually, whether that's through experiments, sketches, thumbnails, maquettes, armatures, all those things. And you might already do those things, but you probably don't do a good job of documenting it. So make sure that you're taking pictures as you practice and as you experiment. Another thing that they want to see is revision. So this is something that we don't really focus on in the lower level art courses, but in AP art, when we do a critique, I want you to go back to pieces and revise them. When you do that, take a picture of what it looked like before the critique, and then take a picture of what it looked like after you got suggestions from your teachers and peers. Documenting that revision can change your portfolio from being a 3 portfolio to a 4 score portfolio. I saw this happen just last year. All right, so there are a few things that you need to focus on when you are doing your AP portfolios. One thing that you need to think about is your ideas. All right, and all of these words I'm about to show you come straight from the AP scoring guide or scoring rubric. So ideas, they really want to know what your ideas are. They want to hear your voice. That's what they used to say. So make sure that your idea is related to a topic or theme. They also want to see your skill level. So play to your strengths here. Do not pick some kind of medium that you've never used before, and don't pick something that you're not skilled in just because you think it relates to your idea. Pick something that you're skilled in, and then probably pick an idea that goes with that skill. Another thing that they want to see is research. So you need to, after you choose your theme, do research and record that research. That research may involve looking up other artists. It may be looking up techniques and processes. So all those times that you're researching, do things like take screenshots, print things out, glue things in your sketchbook, take notes, record your research so that they can see it. On the first two projects that I assign to you, you will do research as part of the process for me so that you can get used to doing that for AP. The next thing that they talk about a lot is materials. So if you can relate the materials that you use to your topic or theme, that is going to put you up in that 4 or 5 or even 6 score level. Another thing that you want to focus on is your techniques. So if you can relate your techniques to your medium, let's say that you want to work in watercolor, what are some watercolor techniques that you want to experiment with and possibly use in your portfolio? Let's say that you're working with clay. What are some clay techniques that you want to experiment with and possibly add to your portfolio? I've already heard several great ideas from y'all about techniques that you want to explore and experiment with this year. The next thing that AP wants to have you focus on are your processes. So we all naturally have our processes when it comes to different mediums that we work with. So just see if you can relate this to your topic or theme in some way. That's going to push you up into that 4 or 5 score level. But keep in mind your process, and if you do something different from your normal process for one of your pieces, make sure that you record that in your sketchbook. The next thing that they want to see is a visual relationship among your pieces. So your portfolio should not look random. It should look like the same person made all the pieces in your portfolio. Think about that term we've talked about since Art 1, unity. They want to see unity in your portfolio as a whole. All right, the next thing that they talk about a lot in the course description and rubric is synthesis, and that is a big word that we may or may not have talked about before. So basically, when they're talking about synthesis, they want to see that you can blend everything together. So your research, your experiment, your topic, your ideas, all those different things, if you can blend that together, if you can blend that with a style or maybe a few different styles and blend it together in a way that is unique to you, that is synthesis. All right, the last thing that AP is looking for is the communication and reflection, but the only way that they're really going to see that you communicate and reflect is in your writing that you turn in at the end along with the images and pieces that you've made. So we will practice writing all throughout this semester. So by the time we get to the end, you will not have to do a whole lot of writing because you will have done it all along. All right, so let's talk about a sustained investigation. What is a sustained investigation? It is a topic or theme that you investigate all year. You want your topic or theme to be something that can be visually unified. You also want to show off a little bit. So pick something that you think that your skills could be shown off through. Okay, so don't pick something that is so far out of your comfort zone that you won't be able to show off a little bit. Things like studies that then develop into finished pieces is part of a sustained investigation. A narrative could also be a sustained investigation. If you're wanting to do a narrative, talk to me a little bit about it, because I think doing a sequential narrative where you have to do all the pieces is not the best idea. I think it's better to do narrative where each piece is kind of its own story, and then maybe you have a general theme that kind of ties all the stories together. That way, if one of your pieces does not come out perfectly, you can always boot it out if you have self-contained stories within each piece. So if you're doing narrative, talk to me about that. If you're not doing narrative, forget everything I just said for the last 20 seconds. All right, and then the last thing a sustained investigation is visual language. That is something from the scoring rubric that AP is looking for. So your visual language. So once again, make sure things are unified and that what you're trying to say is readily apparent or easy for the readers to see right away, because those readers or those scorers who are looking at your portfolio do not have time to sit there and puzzle over what you were trying to say. So if it is not obvious right away, they're going to move on and you're probably going to make a 2 or 3. So make sure that what you are saying is communicated clearly. All right, a sustained investigation is not a group project. It is not a collaboration. It is not something that someone else has done for you. A sustained investigation is not something that just took you a long time to do. A sustained investigation is not a medium, so don't pick something like charcoal as your topic or theme. That's not a topic or theme, that is a medium. A sustained investigation is not plagiarism. So we talked about ethics in one of the last videos that I shared with you. So make sure that you are using your own ideas and your own references. Another thing that a sustained investigation is not is cliche. So don't pick something that you have seen on the internet a million times or that is typical in teenage. Make sure that you're picking big topics and deep ideas that are personal to you. Don't pick something just because you feel like it is trendy. So for example, mental health is a trendy topic right now. If you are not personally struggling with mental health, do not make a portfolio about it. Another topic that is extremely trendy right now would be gender issues, and I would not do a portfolio about gender issues if you are not the one that is personally struggling with your gender identity. So just because you know people that are dealing with that does not make you qualified to talk about that topic. Another one would be racism. If you are of the dominant race, then it is not your personal experience that you're making art about. So think about that. Think about what's trendy, think about what's cliche whenever you're trying to pick a topic, and instead of focusing on trends, focus on things that are deeply personal to you. All right, and then the things that you need to decide, and this is also going to be in the handout that is attached, is you need to decide what your topic, theme, or unifying concept will be. And you will have time to do this over the next month or so don't feel like you have to nail it down today. Think about what opinions or ideas you would like to explore or communicate through your artwork. Pick something that you're passionate about and that you can make a lot of stuff about for a long time. That also means that you probably don't want to get too specific because you want to have a little bit of room to make lots of different pieces. Another thing that you need to decide is what design techniques you want to use. So think about the elements of art and principles of design and which ones do you naturally use. And that's probably the ones that you want to focus on. So pick 1 or 2 from each category, 1 or 2 elements and 1 or 2 principles to focus on in your portfolio. Another thing that you need to decide is what style you will work in. And I would, probably focus on a style that you already tend to gravitate towards instead of trying to do something that is not your usual style. All right, you also need to decide your materials, techniques, and processes. And yes, those words are pulled directly from the AP scoring rubric. So think about your materials. What medium are you skilled at using and how can that relate to the theme that you chose? Also think about what techniques you would like to master from that medium. Then think about what processes you use. So what steps do you think that you will follow when you're making art? And then if you deviate from those steps, just make sure that you're recording that as you go. But I will ask you about your materials, techniques, and processes when I meet with you one-on-one. All right, so you have a few assignments from me based on what I just talked about. So the first assignment will be brainstorming. So I want you to come up with a list of 25 possible themes or topics. So 25 different things that you think are good ideas. You have a whole lot of concentration ideas or sustained investigation ideas attached to this post. So you can explore those. You can take some of those directly from that. You can write down some things that you've already been considering, but you need to brainstorm a long list of possible topics or themes. The next thing that you are going to do for me is a handout that says AP Studio Art Concentration Proposal at the top. That is what we are going to look over when we meet, so make sure that you have filled this out. Virtual students, we will meet over Zoom or in person on Monday, and students who are in person, we will meet one-on-one in the coming weeks. All right. Now this is on that handout, but a lot of students don't read the handout and then they forget to do this. So I'm going to mention this in the video as well. Make sure that you do the ideation part of that assignment. So you're going to do 15 thumbnail sketches of possible compositions. If you are 2D and drawing, that means 15 different pieces. If you are 3D, that means 10 different sculpture ideas with at least 5 extra views, so a total of 15 thumbnails. And remember, a thumbnail is small, so don't, kill yourself trying to make 15 large drawings, just thumbnails of your kind of rough ideas. All right, and then the last part of this assignment will be the experimentation. So I want you to attach a page of experiments of materials and techniques. Now for 2D design and drawing, this is easy. You can just play around with different color schemes or layering or different techniques with the mediums that you have readily available to you. But for 3D, this is a little bit harder. So for 3D, I would like for you to look up some different techniques and processes that you could experiment with, and then take notes on that. Maybe watch a couple tutorials either on YouTube or on WikiHow, and then just take notes on that. And then you can do the actual experimenting after we get started in the studio. All right, well, thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you feel better about starting your sustained investigation.